Patient engagement. We all know that if we engage patients by giving them access to their information, and if we engage them in the care by making it timely and reminding them, that you can have better outcomes. I think that's known. I mean, that's just reminding a patient what to do. Did you take your meds today? Hey, make sure to come in your appointment. That's not just good for the patient's health. It's also good for your financial health. They need to come in. You don't want appointments to go blocked and canceled. But here's a story that resonates even more than care. We got an email from a parent, this is real, who had downloaded the Hilo app and said, thank you for developing this app because my doctor now offers it because they have that sticker there that says Hilo accepted. So I downloaded the app, not for me, but for my son. I linked it to my account because it allows linking. But then what I was able to do is for the first time, go to his school and fill out his forms and not have to come to the PCP's office to ask for a printed paper record because I was able to get his vital signs. I was able to get all access to information on the phone when I needed it. That is also an aspect of patient engagement. It is not just about making people healthy. It's the convenience factor. So what have we done in patient engagement? We understand that there are different modalities that patients like to be communicated to. Voicemails. How many of you get pharmacy phone calls? I mean, this is the worst thing. I got an arthroscopy done about 3 weeks ago, and CVS would call me for ibuprofen like 16 times a day. I mean, I think they spend more money on the phone bill than they actually spend on the prescription itself because ibuprofens don't cost a lot. But nonetheless, you do need to call, but make sure you call them once, not 16 times. Voicemail is common. Text messaging is growing in modalities. Patients might say, hey, don't call me, just text me. There's another segment that says, I'm just glued to my email and my web, so you can send me stuff online and I'll get access to it. Others have smartphones. They download an app and they want it inside the app with the red badge going up and saying, hey, you need to read this notification because something's changed. And then there is something new. And we'll talk about the something new after we show you the first four. So we decided last year to put in $25 million in Hilo. Hilo is our platform for patient engagement. It is health and online wellness. It is not any one modality of communicating with patients. Hilo is actually a patient engagement platform. It includes Messenger, which is the product that you use for sending voice and text reminders to patients. And you will see Messenger 5.0 shortly, what we have done with it, because Messenger 4 has been widely successful. App is something you download. We'll show that to you as well. You can go to the App Store today and download it, but we'll show you the newer version that's coming out before the end of the year. We're going to show you home monitoring. So patients can enter data on the app and the portal when they're at home, and how do you get to respond to it. Do not worry, we are not going to overwhelm you with that data just coming in. It will be available when the patient shows up. Open access. Give me a minute, I'll come into that. And check in. How many of you flew into San Antonio? Most of you? Many of you? If you did, you went to the airport. Did you go to the front desk or did you check into the kiosk? So when you check into the kiosk, why don't you walk into the doctor's office and check yourselves in? And then get to the process of co-pays and all when they're ready for you. Make it streamlined. What about a kiosk? What about a phone? We'll walk you through all of these capabilities in Hilo. But before we do that, let's get started with Messenger. Overall, from a statistics perspective, if you want to know how successful it is, we've got 2,500 practices that are now using it. We had 3 million messages just last month through voice and text, so it's working. Used a lot for appointments, flu season. Portal has been there for a long time as part of our system. 2 years ago, when we mentioned how tightly integrated the patient portal was with our EHR, we had 2,900 practices, I think, on it, somewhere in that range. Today, it's 8,200 practices. This is 2 years. This is 2 years. There were just 2.9 million patients with access to online accounts. It's crossed 13. It's actually 14, somebody told me. 14 million now on. Daily 300 messages go out, 300,000 emails go out to remind patients, and 20,000 new patients get accounts every single day from your practices to get onto an online portal. And it is used every day. So with that, let me turn it over to Sam and he's going to give you a walkthrough of the features we've added in Messenger 5, especially around integration to the V10 platform, and then the portal platform as well.
Thank you, Girish. Messenger 5 has been integrated into version 10 into different parts of the application. Let's take a look at how it works with the registry. All of you are familiar how registry finds patients based on different filters. Let's try to find list of all patients in this practice greater than 50-year-old that have not had an appointment for the last 1 year. Now, what do I do with this data? I can use Messenger to send a notification or a reminder. But when you're doing that with Messenger 5.0, you have different options that you can send these notifications: email, app notification, text, or voice. In addition to that, Messenger 5 can also recognize patients' preferred way of communication and use the appropriate modality to send that notification or reminder. Well, let's look at another example here. In version 9, when you receive a telephone call from a patient, the only way to respond back is make another phone call back to the patient. Well, with version 10 and Messenger 5, when you get a phone call that gets received by your practice, this patient is asking for a referral to the cardiologist, I can reply back to this patient and send that message as an app notification, text, or voice notification. You don't have to call the patient anymore to confirm that.
Let's go to the portal, and many of you have deployed it. But what we need to show you, or want to show you, is the newer things we've done and how nicely we've integrated that within V10.
Well, with Patient Portal, you can now start sending copay receipts to the patient online on the Patient Portal. In addition to the copay receipts, you can also see the future appointment information on the portal as well. The new version of the Patient Portal also allows you to publish questionnaires associated to the appropriate appointment types. That means if the patient is coming in for a new patient visit, you can publish a questionnaire that is associated with that new patient visit, which will then allow patients to respond to that questionnaire before walking in for the visit. Referrals. With new Patient Portal, we have enhanced the capability of referrals. This patient has received a referral to go to gastroenterologist's office. The patient can now see the information about that provider and the specialist, as well as the reason for that referral. But in addition to that, patient can now also see the driving directions to that specialist's office as well. We are introducing a concept of health tracker with version 10 and the new version of Patient Portal. If the physician has asked this patient to start tracking blood pressure or blood sugar on a regular basis because patient is diabetic and hypertensive, patient can start entering that information on the portal or on the mobile device as well.
We've also enhanced Portal in terms of enterprise routing, enterprise capabilities. You can go into your EHR and you'll be able to route messages by doctor, by facility. So refill requests go to this person. Yes, you can clap about that one, especially if you're multi-site, multi-location. You'll love the enterprise, and it is enterprise directory compatible as well. So a lot of good stuff happening on the portal. There's a lot more you can see. Let's go to my slides first, and then we'll get to showing you the app in a minute.
That's okay.
Thank you, Sam. This was a nice article that came out in the Harvard Business Review last month, and it talked about how consumers, not patients only, but consumers, are using the smartphone when they're in day-to-day life. The two things that got my attention was the 11%, which is considered to be their accomplishments that they want to look for, and health was one of them. Health was one of them. Patients want to see getting to certain milestones. Patients want to engage in understanding their care. The second one doesn't surprise you, but shopping on phones, looking for airplanes, flight reservations, looking for something else that they need to get to. It's very common. The phone usage is growing exponentially. Why don't we bring this capability into your phone app, into your hands of your patients? Before I get into showing you the entire Hilo app, I want to discuss a key capability that's not just good for the patient, it's actually good for you as well. We analyzed this data. Of the 190 odd million visits that had happened, on top of that, I might get it wrong, but about 15 million were canceled. Never rebooked. You lost that slot. Now, many of you say, well, we call the patients and we fill them. It's pretty expensive to do that. And it's not either possible either, because you can't just go on a roll and start calling every person saying, hey, come on in, hey, come on in, come on in, I have a canceled slot. But, 24 hours before, the probability of filling it up automatically might not exist. On top of that, there are open slots that go away that you don't use. So open access is actually the ability to take your canceled appointments. If you prefer, this is all optional. You can set it up as a campaign, as a feature, as a capability of open access. How long before do you want to open up your schedule to broadcast it to your patients? Now, you don't want to overwhelm them either, so only the appropriate patients. So if this is a patient that is due for a physical, then they get it. If this person is due for a post-op, then they get it. If this patient is due to come in because they need to see you once a year, they get it. So you're not overwhelming them. They'll get a broadcast, they accept it, your appointment slots get booked. Isn't that what Priceline does? Yes. We just call it open access because they had trademarked it. It also sends you a notification on the patient's email with the date and the time so that they can do a book now and get it. So the app is not just for accessing personal information. Hilo can do a lot more for you, both on the portal side and all, and I'll be delighted to actually show you all the capabilities, including one with that small thing sitting right next to Sam and what it can do. But give me a minute. I'm going to put it onto airplay mode, because if I don't, somebody's going to come and yell at me again. So put it onto airplay, reflector, on, done. Let's see if it goes online. Excellent. So I will log into my Hilo app. Most common thing on passwords we didn't show you, but one of the features we added was forgot username and forgot passwords. Yeah, we did that. We didn't show it to you, but it's there. Yes, I forget my usernames most often and my passwords too. So on the phone, at least you don't have to worry about username and passwords. In this case, my PIN is 1234, so I won't even forget it. And that's not me. I dial into my app. This is the newer look. I get to, yeah, it's pretty easy. I get to see any messages I have received from the providers. I have the ability of going ahead and clicking on or tapping onto my account. There are two accounts, one for me and one for Bob Smith, my parent. It supports Proxy, supports linking. It's not just for your child, it's also for your grandparents or your parents. You can manage accounts online. Let me log into San Mateo. I can see my messages from the physician's office. I have the ability of looking at my upcoming appointments. I have the ability to go ahead and look at my medications. It even gives me the reminder. It says I need to take it every day at 6 p.m. with food. I can change it. So the phone reminds me to take my meds. I go back. I have the ability to look at my chart, vital signs, insurance, allergy, all of the above. You also have the ability to see lab results. your CBC, your doctor's notes regarding that lab. So everything you can do on the portal is also available on Hilo, the app. And it's free. There's no cost. If I go back home, I will get any appointment reminders if I need to access them. I have my trackers, like Sam mentioned. Here I can track my body mass index. That's the one I've subscribed to. I have the ability of going in, recording my weight at the UC, put on a few pounds. And that data, just like the patient portal, again, goes in. You can also look at your trend as a patient. We talked about achieving goals. That's important. Patients like it. You can subscribe to any markers or trackers and put them on. But there's one really cool feature, and that's check-in. If I have an upcoming appointment, it tells me. I have one. I tap on it. It shows me what? A QR code. Pay attention to it. I'm going to come back to it in a minute. I can use that QR code. I can walk to your front desk, which is on the right now for me, and I can self-check myself in. I don't have to go ahead and enter it one by one. You walk in, that's your QR code reader right here. Put it at your front desk. Put a Hilo accepting card. That's your front desk reception desktop. You go in. You check. It will check you in. It will pop up at the front desk. It's cool. It's cool. But don't forget what I just did, because we're going to go beyond. Wait. Something exciting. We always do that to you. Wait. You can check yourself in. It actually allows you to even do demographics verification. If your phone app has a different demographic data regarding patient and address, you can compare it against the one you have in your local EHR PM, and you can talk to the patient. So it's not just insurance eligibility. You can actually do it right with your phone. Make sense? Now, I told you, and I was doing my slides, that there was a modality that we were going to talk about. We've done voice. We've done text. We've done emails and portal. We've done app. Which one's left? Which one's left? You don't know. Okay. Video, she says, but I got to do the kiosk as well, right? So let me do the kiosk, and then I will do the video. You're absolutely right about that one. So what I checked in there, I can also check in using my kiosk and get into it. Let me put the kiosk here. Actually, there's a physical device as well somewhere, and you get to see it. One other good thing we've done with the kiosk this year is, instead of costing thousands, it's actually a kiosk model now. They make it right here in North Carolina, I think, or somewhere in the US. It costs between $300 and $500. It's pretty nice. Actually, it looks like something like this. It looks something really like this. You can put it anywhere. I can use this to log in. Okay? Can I log in? Let me put this onto airplane mode. Is that right? Reflector on. And I'm done. Hopefully you get to see it. Great. Instead of logging in using the QR code, which you can do as well on the kiosk, you could log in using your keyboard, the normal login process. I can check in. Either of those two, again, remind, you can do it by credit cards as well. But let me get back into this one, select this mode, enter my first name. Allows me to verify whatever I've keyed in so far. Get your consent form accepted on the kiosk. I did not do the questionnaire, but you could actually populate a questionnaire on the kiosk as well. You'll see that in the breakouts. Walk you through demographics verification, continue, verify your insurance, the same. You talk about it, you can click check in, and you've checked in using the kiosk. That's pretty nice too. Now to video. Who wants to see video? Who wants to see video? So let's put the patient side up on the screen. Let's put the patient side up on the screen so we can start showing you something pretty exciting. Now, whatever we've shown you so far, version 10 goes into early adopter program on October 17th, right after. After November 17th, go ahead and GA it and take it. So this is not like 6 months out. It's 4 weeks out. And if you're bold enough to be in the early adopter program, come and see us. We'll put you in it too. That's quick. Hilo comes out at the same time. CCMR too. So whatever we've talked about so far is now. Is ready. You can get your hands on it and use it. Put it in your practices. We're going to show you today is going to come out in first quarter, just so that you know. It's going to come out in first quarter. Let's now simulate this to be the patient side. Patients logged on to the portal. So we'll have patients log on to the portal. They get to see and access all their information. They get to see their upcoming appointments. There's an appointment that he or she is going to click on. And what do you see on this appointment that's different? It marks it. It says it's a telemedicine appointment. It's not a face-to-face. Oh, yes. You can go ahead and click on New Patient History. There's a customized questionnaire that's now been tied and linked to that particular visit. Because all telemedicine visits cannot have the full physical questionnaire, and you might only do it for certain type of patient engagement once. You could do it for just blood pressure checks. You could do it for something else. You could do it for more extensive telemed. By the way, starting January 1st of 2015, it's going to be paid for by Medicare. So that's something for you to consider as well. Yeah. Patient fills out the information, clicks on Submit Request, and it's going to go ahead and initiate a telemedicine visit for you. So we'll go ahead and have the patient click on Submit Request, and let's click OK. And it will go ahead and initiate a teleconferencing visit and put the videos on the left side and on the right side for you. And Sam's there, the patient's there. Hey, it's awesome! Those guys are backstage. Those guys are backstage. Oh yeah, he's making fun of me. Hey, good job, guys. You've not screwed up too many times so far. It's great. So, yeah. Hey, can you clap for this one? This is not trivial. And better yet, why don't you see the physician side of the equation too? When you log on to the physician side, we switch to the physician side on the screens, please. This is the projector stuff. Let's go to the physician side, the questionnaires. That's your EHR. That's your EHR. That's your video visit right inside. You have 20 patients coming to see you. 2 of them might be in this category. You might have a nurse manager doing it. You can import all the data that the patient put on the portal onto your progress note using the same blue links that you use from the right panel. That is seamless integration of telemed inside an EHR. You think we should be done? One more. Dr. Volpe says one more. Well, I can share another story and then I can go to this one more stuff. Dr. Butler is somewhere in the audience. I don't know where he is, but Dr. Butler and Alan Cooper are here. You know, I met them in 2003 at the San Antonio show when I had come with that booth, that 10 by 10. And that's when they bought the product. But let me tell you a funny story. So Dr. Butler walked up to me at that Tepper show and talking to me about the product and the EHR. And, you know, we were 11 people in the company at that time. So didn't want to tell him much and, you know, just go on and on and on. And then it gets to this time, it's late afternoon, the last day of the conference, and I have to catch my flight. So I don't want to tell him no. But he doesn't want to go. He wants to ask me questions. But I don't want to tell him that only after you leave do I have to take this booth down, pack it, put it into a box, and take it with me because there's nobody else that comes behind me to take this booth away. That was 2003, folks. And today we get to have all of you in this audience. This is fun. It makes me really, really proud to be here for the morning. So one last thing. You know, I'll say something that's controversial, but then you know what? I don't have a board of directors, so I'll say it. Public HIEs have not worked. And the reason is not because the technology is not good. It's because patient privacy, patient security, patient wanting to share information always with everybody gets in the way. And you don't have to be right once, twice. You have to be right 100% of the time. That fear makes it less usable. I don't know of too many providers that regularly, every day, get into some third-party system to go look at the external information of the patient. But they need to. So there is the need for health information exchange. I just don't think it's about archiving everything in a central location before somebody else can get to see it. I don't believe in that model. You don't have to agree with me, but I don't believe in that model. I believe in the peer-to-peer model. I believe in the model where one provider can send it to another provider. We've talked about that. That's secure, it's fast, it's timely. But what about this notion? Where it's not a provider-to-provider sharing the data. What about the patient sharing their data? What about the patient just coming in and saying, Doc, I'm here to see you. I'm going to share my information with you. There's no question of privacy. There's no question of security. There's no question on whether you can send that data, when you should send that data, how much of that data should you send. Why don't we do that? When it is so obvious, why don't we do it? Why haven't we made that leap to allow patient access to their health information? You know, there was a time when the doctor used to write a prescription, give you a piece of paper and say, you take it. And you carry it with you. And you are the custodian of your health information. I am not. And then we went into the side where we made every physician the custodian of having to keep paper charts, and we made it electronic. But I think patient carrying their information has a lot more power than an HIE model that fits a public entity. You see version 10. What do you see new? You see the buttons on the left side? You see the buttons at the bottom? See that 3-tab progress note? You see those orange, green, yellow clips on the top. What else do you see? What else do you see? There's something new there. Those of you that use eClinicalWorks every day, there's a new link somewhere on that chart. It's called the Hilo Hub. What do you think it does? When that patient checks in using Hilo, it not only gets the demographics verification to occur, it links all of the patient's accounts if they allow you to do it, and give you access to their entire health information. Think about it. You're a specialist. In many communities in the country, eClinicalWorks is a dominant place in it. There is. I know it. 49,200 locations. I know how big we are. A specialist sees the patient for the first time. See the sticker there. Patient sees the sticker says, Hilo accepted, just like the Zagat accepted capability part of it. Oh, come on, you're 5-star, I know it. Patient walks in, self-checks themselves in, or uses the phone with the QR code. It links the patient to that appointment. Patient walks into the examination room. Doctor opens the chart. Doesn't have to go scurry around in another browser and another portal to start looking up information because it's too tedious and not going to happen. Sees the Hilo Hub, clicks on it. Sam, could you please click on the Hilo Hub for us? What does it do? It gives you access to the entire patient record that was not in your practice. It was data that was brought from other places. It was data that the patient had linked. It is data that the patient had self-entered on home trackers and home markers. It is health information exchange that is patient-directed. We think this is the wave of the future. This is how HIEs will work. I think we've done a phenomenal job last year in terms of doing product roadmap development on V10. I hope you agree with that. V10 is phenomenal. It is. Population health. For those of you that are getting into shared savings programs, you've seen the definition of what we call population health with CCMR. And you've seen our investments in patient engagement, and we're going to double it down. Our plan is to put under $50 million into this initiative in 2014. We're that excited about patient engagement. We're not going to back down from making our core stronger. which is you all, and we're not going to make it any less for your patients to find you to be. I want you to be the purple cow of the industry. You know what the purple cow of the industry is? You read that book? There was a book. Hey, I have 14 more minutes, it says on the clock, so I can tell you another story. 2 more minutes and I'll let you go. There's this book that talks about your business being talked about, your practice being talked about every day. So there was this author of this book that was on a train ride in Amsterdam, and through the pastures, they were taking the train, and it was all windmills and green and cows everywhere, and it was beautiful. And he kept talking to his wife about, hey, it's beautiful. Hey, it's beautiful. And then the train went a few more miles and a few more miles, and they stopped talking about it. Hey, how long can you talk about windmills? And how long can you talk about green pastures? And how long can you talk about cows? But he said in his book that if that cow, one of them was purple, you and I would be talking about it today. You and I would never forget that experience, and we'd talk about it. We want to empower you in your practices, in your areas of where you do business, in where you see your patients, to be the purple cow of your community. We want your patients to think of you as the best practice they ever walked into because their experience was the seamless and the most. We want them to understand that when they walk in, their access to information is there, not just from what was entered in this chart, but from every other chart. And that you will make sure that whenever they go anywhere, they'll have access to their information with them, whether it's online or on the phone. I think when these 3 things work together, V10, CCMR, and Hilo, we are building the bridges for better care, both you and I together. So thank you. Thank you.